individuals, including Ona, who is a retired nursing officer from the British Army, Hyacinth Myers, who is a women's empowerment coach, mentor and life strategist, Gemma Hurst, who is a podcaster and blogger, and later on we'll be hearing from Rhiannon Palmer, who helps brands grow through PR and comms, but also we'll be hearing from Alan Jones, who is a senior sailing development officer at the Royal Yachting Association in the Northwest region. So we'll be hearing from him as well in this next audio. So I hope you enjoy this and enjoy this little insight into what helps these people really relax and get away from that stress and maybe the situations which they do find themselves in with high levels of stress. And obviously one thing that the pandemic has taught us is that we do need to think about our stress levels and what we can do to alleviate them. I'll take it away and give it over to them.
I think that we are stressed in our everyday lives, and I think there is more stress now because we don't live in the moment. We are constantly looking for something else.
That was Gemma Hurst, podcaster and blogger. She is also currently unemployed due to the pandemic, sharing her thoughts on why there is more stress in our lives, as today marks Stress Awareness Day.
I think sometimes stress can be viewed quite negatively as an inability to cope or a weakness or a character flaw.
Ona Croft is a recently retired army nurse who is passionate about health promotion and improvement. She served with the British Army for 16 years, working all over the world, including an exchange to Australia and one to Sierra Leone during the Ebola crisis. She believes it is important that we recognise stress as simply part of our daily lives.
But I think it's important to remember that we're all susceptible to stress, and those kinds of negative connotations can be quite unhelpful to someone who's managing stress. Just because someone is coping at the moment and might be able to judge others doesn't mean that they're always going to be able to cope in the future. And it is important to remember that we're all susceptible, we're all human.
And stress comes to us in different forms. Alan Jones is a sailing development officer for the Northwest region of the Royal Yachting Association. He is passionate about spreading the word about the sport of sailing. And travels regularly from areas of Greater Manchester all the way to the Isle of Man. But utilising technology over the pandemic has brought a unique stress.
Within the job, you can put me in front of a room of 5 people, for example, and yes, I'll chat sailing to them and development. Put me in a room of 25 people, I'll start working the audience. Put me in a room of, 125 people, I'll work it even more. So I'm a fairly confident person, but I found myself totally out of my depth with assisting, delivering, talking in these webinars. And for the first time in a long time, I was absolutely bouncing with nerves. And I don't know where it came from. Maybe just totally out of my comfort zone.
And Alan is not alone in his nerves. Hyacinth Myers is a women's empowerment coach, mentor and life strategist. Seeing herself as a creative spiritual soul to serve others, she observes how we surround ourselves with stress on a daily basis, which is only heightened by constant comparison to others.
I just find that most of our lives are spent actually worrying about what other people expect of us, what roles we actually play, and comparing ourselves to other people.
Whether it's workload, time pressures, financial issues, or even workplace dynamics, jobs are also a huge cause of stress in our lives. According to CIPHR, 1 in 14 UK adults feel stressed every day, and 1 in 5 feel stressed more days a month than they don't. Ona advocates the importance of embracing our vulnerability, of simply being human.
Just because someone is coping at the moment and might be able to judge others doesn't mean that they're always going to be able to cope in the future. And it is important to remember that we're all susceptible, we're all human.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that very insightful piece their audio piece, and thank you very much to all the contributors for offering their very wise words. And sometimes it is just recognising the fact that, as was said in the piece, perhaps you're not in the present moment, perhaps you've wandered off, maybe into the past or into the future. I think it's a very easy time for us now, especially with it getting dark in the evening, for us to perhaps think back to sunnier times in summer, or perhaps to look forward to Christmas and more time with the family. But sometimes that stress can be just arising from that simple act of not being in the present moment, and stress for many of us can be a daily occurrence, and that isn't something which is abnormal. So we do have to recognise that and accept that perhaps as being a regular part of the daily life, and just watch ways in which we can alleviate that. Perhaps take a walk at lunchtime, or do something that you feel will reduce your stress. Here on Lim Radio, we do provide a variety of great tunes and some quotes, and I thought I would share with you the quote for today.